Good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun. Thank you so much, everybody who have been helping in different ways. And thank you for watching the videos and sharing with family and friends. And thank you also for clicking like, clicking notification bell, leaving comment, and engaging with this channel. Today we'll be talking about universal credit. It's money given as help, financial help to the British people, people living in the UK. The government is shutting down the public sector and privatizing the economy. Eventually, with technology, the entire economy will shut down. The benefit system is provided by the public sector and also by the government. When the government shut down the public sector, it shut down the benefit as well. The universal credit is a form of benefit, it's money given to people who need help. Multimillionaires and multi-billionaires get pension as benefit. Pension is a type of benefit also. If you are sick, you can also get benefit. Even if you are multimillionaires or multi-billionaires in the United Kingdom, you get something called personal independence payment or attendance allowance if you are a pensioner. If you are sick, this is a sickness benefit, attendance allowance, a personal independence payment, or disability living allowance if you are a child, and child benefit also if you are, even if you are parents or the child itself is actually multimillionaires and multi-billionaire. This is the situation in the United Kingdom, and similar to Europe and most developed countries. Maybe also could be similar to Africa in certain ways, but Africa is probably distinctively different. Let us talk about money given in the United Kingdom to help people on low income. If you have £16,000 in saving, you are most likely to get means tested benefit, which has now been uh, uh, renamed Universal Credit. Universal Credit are actually composed of 6 different legacy benefits. We have discussed this in the other videos. If you watch them, subscribe to this channel and support it and click like if you are a new subscriber. Thank you so much, everyone, for your help. So we are now in a state of, if you like, where society is changing very rapidly. I've been discussing this and I'm using this information to illustrate change because it affects life. The most important thing in life is actually life of people, and I have also proposed that to have peace, because everything we do is to achieve peace, including also if we put food on the table, accessing energy, housing, healthcare, employment, or if we're running our own businesses. We all do this. We all do this to achieve peace through development. Development now is centered on wealth creation, power, and influence, which is a good thing. But what I'm suggesting, long term, for sustainability purposes, development now should center around people, so that we begin to value ourselves and valuing others, and in everything we do, so that we start the process of sustainable peace, because peace makes us happy. The whole idea about life is happiness. If you're a child, if you're an adult, if you are foreigner or from a country. So let's go back to looking at universal credit, and we are continuing this process from the previous process where we started this segment of our project. And leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So there is something requirement on universal credit known as reporting changes of circumstances. If you are in a situation, you can report a change of circumstance, and you should report a change of circumstance as soon as possible. And even if you can stay on your old benefits. We are talking about old benefits if you watch other videos, because there is new and old benefit. Old benefit, which is actually now made new by renaming renaming as universal credit. You might also be paid too much or too little if you report later. So reporting change of circumstances is very important. So normally, if you don't report change of circumstances, you might be paid too little or too much. Because if you have more money, you should be paid less. If you have too little money, you should be paid more. And if you are probably sick, you are most likely going to be considered for sickness element, limited capability for work-related activity, or limited capability for work activity, which requirements are actually differing. So these are something you can you can pay attention to. Normally you pay these monies back, and you might have to pay some extra money with as a penalty. You can be penalized for not reporting a change of circumstance if this happened, because like if you pay too little, there's probably no problem. You lose benefit. But if you are paid too much, probably that might be a problem from the deed. You have to pay the money back, and there are also rules for paying it back, and I will be talking about that. And if you need to claim benefits now very difficult to access. In the same way as other welfare system services are difficult to access. I'll be repeating this point because they are very central to this program, and I need people to know, because people have livelihood. Employment is also part of welfare, because the government makes sure the economy is functioning well, and the government support the economy in one way or the other to make sure there is enough employment, because employment is the basis of income. And also what we call universal credit or benefit generally is the basis of income. And this is also relating to the cost of living crisis, which is actually the main topic. And the reason I'm actually talking about this topic is actually because the main topic of the cost of living crisis is the one driving this program. So, like we said in the other program, if you're getting working tax credit or child tax credit, and you need to tell the HMRC about the change on gov.uk. Gov.uk is the website of the government in the United Kingdom. And if you talk about change of circumstances, I've already explained, it includes also child tax credit and working tax credit. Working tax credit and child tax credit are legacy benefits, but now they are actually respectively the working element or child element, the work element or the child element in the universal credit. So we are still talking about universal credit reporting change of circumstances, and also something called migration. Migration means movement from the old to the new system of benefit. So you can still move to universal credit, but it's important to check if you will be better off. You need to know if you're going to be better off or worse off. If you apply for universal credit, any other legacy benefits you are getting will end, and you won't be able to go back to any legacy benefits in the future, even if you are appealing a benefit decision. So this is some of the points you need to take in. If you have a choice between staying on your old benefits or claiming universal credit, talk to an advisor, and they can help you work out how much you would get on universal credit. So advisors are there, like I said, because advisors also depend on the public sector. The government, it depends on the government to fund it, but they're struggling now to provide service effectively. I've repeated this point over and again if you watch the rest of the video. And the logic of this program is that if there is a problem, you should solve it. And the government is shutting down, so citizens of the United Kingdom should take responsibility for their lives in terms of employment, in terms of income, in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, You need to speak to your a member of parliament. Whoever you can speak to. If you can speak to minister, if you can speak to King Charles, if you can speak to a medical doctor, or private or public, whoever you think can help. But I would say you can also come together as family and begin to looking at options of how you're going to look after yourself. Because if the government is no longer looking after itself, which the government does, maybe we don't realize it, not just in the United Kingdom and Europe, but also in Asia, in terms of continent, America and Africa. Government is the one which runs the country indirectly or directly. They look after each citizen. This is now changing because of politics and also because of globalization. It is happening globally. I've mentioned this several times, and I need to take responsibility with a child. I have to take responsibilities because there will come a time when your parents might not be able to look after you because they will not have food, they will not have water or energy. You're now living in government property, or you're renting, you're buying on a mortgage. In the United Kingdom, mortgage means you're borrowing money to buy your housing. But there will come a time when, ultimately, housing, there will be no housing for people without money. Because if you have money, you will then use your money to buy your house. The credit system may also stop because systems are changing very rapidly, mainly because of technology, and technology will be producing goods and services, in my opinion, at no extra cost. And in theory, in my opinion, also, we shouldn't need to work when technology takes over running the economy. And also, when technology takes over running the economy, we will come to an end of the economic age. The economy will shut down because you don't need the economy if there is no trade. There cannot be trade if technology is producing goods and services for everyone in the world. But this is maybe 100 years to come, but 50 years to come, maybe 10, 20, or even 5 years. And now things are changing. If you go to supermarket, bank, you find that more and more in buses, in public transport. Technology is now being used. Mobile phones are everywhere. Social media is everywhere. So things are changing very quickly, meaning things will change to the point where government is now shutting down, and society, economy will also shut down, which means individuals should now look after themselves. The government only look after themselves if it's running the economy. The economy being sold off to private individuals. If you have money, you can buy a bank, you can buy the army, you can buy the police. The security system is probably going to be the last one to be sold, but it's being sold off now. It's being privatized. Privatization is actually selling off the country entirely. Nothing is going to be left. Everything will be sold because the government is shutting down. So there will be private security. There will be private policing if they still policing. So all these are actually the future, what is happening in the future. But it's beginning to happen now because now there are pressures on the police. The police will be laid off work. Medical doctors are being laid off work. Medical doctors are being paid. New doctors are being paid £25,000 per annum, which is actually a sign that the doctors used to be respected in Britain, not anymore, because the country no longer need them. Because if technology is going to replace medical doctors, increasingly the doctors are not going to be needed, lawyers are not going to be needed, engineers are not going to be needed, including computer engineers, because there are artificial intelligence now beginning to come to run the countries. So I will be reminding us of the changes, which is because if you find things are being strange, roads are closed, are blocked, children are stuck on traffic from school, they're stuck on buses in traffic, going to and from school, and people going to work are actually, sometimes they cannot even get to work effectively because there are disruptions in the service, transport service, public service, transportation. there are probably shortages of food because of the problem to do with delivery. You go to supermarket, sometimes you find that the shelf are actually empty. Now, this are actually development now happening in the country, so it is really vital that we actually you know that we actually um, we we should be in a position to actually being in um, a position to acknowledge what is happening. I was just looking at the screen because I was not sure how much space we have, because normally I think we have about 47 minutes left, which is about right. I mean, I'll just rush this thing quickly so that we are not caught up. So to know how much you might be able to get, you can also use the benefit calculator to check how much universal credit you can get. This information is being repeated. So when determining how much you might be able to get, so that to get an accurate answer, you will need to know details about your income, including any earnings or benefits, rent, living costs, savings, and investment. Calculating universal credit, you can find out how to calculate how much you get on universal credit. Actually, like I said, and if you are claiming universal credit, you claim universal credit, you will usually get one payment each month, and you will usually have to manage your claim online. It will usually take 5 weeks to get your first universal credit payment, but it could take longer. If your all benefits haven't ended, you can keep getting them for 2 weeks after you apply for universal credit. You won't need to pay back the extra payments, and they don't affect how much universal credit you will get. This applies to income-based job seekers allowance, income-related employment support allowance, income support, housing benefit, and you will only get extra 2 weeks payment if you are still eligible for benefit, and you will need to pay back the extra payments, and they won't affect how much universal credit you will get. If you're getting extra payments of income support or housing benefit, and you might get extra 2 weeks payments of these benefits, even if their eligibility ends. If your eligibility ends during this time, if you are actually in this situation, you can get help from the expert advice team. If you won't have enough money to live on while you wait for your universal credit payment, you can ask for an advance payment. You can the advance payment is a loan, so you'll have to pay it back. And if you need help moving to universal credit, you can talk to an advisor. And it's something, if you're looking to claim universal credit, you can check your eligibility. You look at the eligibility criteria of universal credit, and universal credit is a benefit you can claim if you are on low income or unemployed. I've mentioned that already. It might be worth claiming universal credit if you are struggling to pay your bills, and if you've lost your job or have no income, or your income has dropped but you are still working and have a disability or illness that stop you working, you have child care costs, you are caring for someone, if you already get other benefit, you might have to move to universal credit instead. There's no set level of income where you stop being eligible for universal credit. It depends on your situation. So you can so as I say, this information actually exists on the government website gov.uk and all the other non-statutory bodies. If you watch the rest of the video, you will find out. Go online, and if you cannot, then you can go to your local authorities, the Department of Health and Department of Health and Work, the Department of Work and Pension, DWP, or organization like Citizen Advice or Shelter or all these other organizations. So you must be 18 years to get universal credit, and also or you should be older. In some cases, 16 or 17-year-olds can get. You should also be under state pension age. You can check your state pension age if you are over 60 years old. You can do this on gov.uk. If you live in the United Kingdom, there are extra rules if you are not a British citizen. So you need to understand about your immigration status, and you must usually have less than 16,000 in savings or other investments. This is called capital. Capital doesn't include your pension part or the home you live in. If you live in a partner with a partner, their income and capital will be taken into account. If you have more than 16,000 in capital, you might still be able to get universal credit for up to a year. This applies if you get a tax credit and you have heard a letter from the DWP telling you to move to universal credit by a certain date. You can get universal credit if you are living with other people, but it might affect how much you get. For example, living with parents might mean you get less help with housing costs. You can get universal credit if you are self-employed. The application process is the same. Whether you will be able to get universal credit depends on your situation. We have already discussed this. We are only repeating this point so that the information makes a lot more sense. So you have the capital limit and tariff on income. You can usually get only get universal credit if your capital is 16,000 or less. Either you are living alone or combined with your partner's capital, and you can only get universal credit with over 16,000 capital if you are moving from tax credit under managed migration. These points are actually repeatable. Capital doesn't usually include any payments that are regular, periodical, or part of a series. These might count as income. Income includes cash, money in the bank or building societies, accounts, one-off payments, such as redundancy payments or loans, investments, bonds, shares, and unit trusts. Personal injury compensation, unless it is in a trust, or you have had it for less than 12 months. Land and property, unless you're living in your land and planning to live in your land, or planning to sell your land. If your land and property might also not be counted as capital if you move out after your relationship ends, or if your client, if your close relative or partner or former partner live there. And you can check this information on the government website and on the website generally. You will always find one type of information or another. We have discussed this already, and we'll be repeating this point over and again, and just checking how it goes. So like I said, some capital are actually disregarded by the government when assessing your universal credit. and capital which are actually not counted, which are actually disregarded, which include personal possession, personal pension, business assets, life assurance policy, money from the London Emergency Trust or organization like We Love Manchester Emergency Fund, and payments from any scheme providing compensation for historical institutional child abuse in the UK. These are example money from the energy bills support scheme, where you own something jointly, such as a house. The DWP will assume it's an equal split, unless you can prove otherwise. This is complex, and you can get specialist help from expert advice team, or read about more about capital disregards in the DWP internal guidance. And so you can actually look in different places to actually find out about universal credit and the advice with actually, or including, you can actually go to the DWP and also, access materials which you can ask the DWP to give you, and you can go to different places. If it's unclear whether money counts as capital, you can get specialist help from expert advice team. If you have saving of about 6,000, you will get less universal credit if you have saving of over 6,000 and under 16,000. The job center will assume that you get monthly income of £4.35 from every 250. You have over 6,000. So if you have £6,000 or above, then that is the formula. It doesn't matter if you actually get this amount. This is called tariff income. Tariff income is added to your other income when working out how universal credit if the DWP is working out how much universal credit you could get. So tariff income is added to your income, and also in addition to other income, and you can also check this information online in different places. And if you want to reduce your capital, and normally you are not allowed to try to get rid of your capital and become eligible for universal credit. This is called deprivation of capital. If you do this, the DWP will treat you as if you still have the money, and you won't be depriving yourself of capital. If you pay off or reduce a debt in your name, or pay of goods or services that are considered reasonable, if there isn't a definitive list, there is also not a definitive list of goods or services the DWP considered reasonable. Day-to-day items are more likely to be considered reasonable than luxury items. So you can actually check the rules about deprivation of capital in different places online, and you can also look at this actually in by visiting the library, whatever source of government reporting. You will get this information, and you can always find out about this all this information. So tax credit, if your tax credit is actually over 16,000, the DWP disregard capital over 16,000 for up to a year. if you claim universal credit under managed migration. We have discussed this, and this is part of the transitional protection of managed migration. And your transitional protection will end early if your capital falls below 16,000, and or if you switch from a joint claim to a single claim, or from a single to a joint claim. And you and your partners earning, if this occurs, and if your earnings were above the demonstrative earnings threshold in your first assessment period, then if this falls below for three consecutive months, if their demonstrative earnings threshold is 6, actually their demonstrative threshold earnings threshold is 677 for a single claimant and 1,083 for a couple. We are repeating this point. We have actually gone through it elsewhere. If you are self-employed and you are treated as having earnings above the threshold, if you are subject to the minimum income floor, including if you are in a startup period. You can check the information on the minimum income flow if it applies to you. So you can restart transitional protection, and transitional protection won't usually restart even if your circumstances go back to where they were. Transitional protection might restart if your claim ended because your income was too high. If your income falls low enough to qualify for universal credit within 3 months, you can get transitional protection again. And if you are already claiming benefit or tax credits, universal credit will be gradually replacing these benefits, including housing benefit, income-related employment support allowance, income-based job seekers allowance, child tax credit, working tax credit, and income support. You can usually stay on one of these benefits unless something about your situation has changed. Not every change means you need to claim universal credit. If you have heard a letter from the DWP telling you to move to universal credit by a certain date, this is called a migration notice. And if you have heard a letter, you only have to move to universal credit if it is an official migration notice, and find out more about moving to universal credit from other benefits. If you are appealing a benefit, if you have had a migration notice, you should claim by the date lying on the notice. If you haven't had a migration notice, it might be worth waiting for a decision on your appeal or mandatory consideration before claiming universal credit. If you make a claim for universal credit, you might not be able to go back to your other benefit even if your appeal succeeds. And so if you are actually challenging the decision, you can talk to an advisor if you are not sure whether to claim universal credit or wait for your appeal. If you are challenging the decision, and if you have time before your migration deadline, you should challenge the decision before claiming universal credit. And if you request a reconsideration or appeal before claiming universal credit, the decision can be backdated. If you are awarded a more legacy benefit because of the challenge, you might get more universal credit when you move So if you are in a situation of severe disability premium, SDP, within when we are actually within the migration from legacy benefit to universal credit, and then you can claim universal credit then, even if you were getting or recently stopped getting a benefit with a severe disability premium SDP. So if you are the migration notice, you must claim by your final deadline for managed migration. Check how managed migration affects your situation, and if you haven't had a migration notice, and you should apply for universal credit within a month after you stop getting the benefit with the SDP. Universal credit, this means you might get an extra amount in your universal credit called a transitional element. You can check if you are eligible for SDP transitional element, and or you can actually contact an advisor for help. So if you are in a full-time education or actually training, you can only get universal credit if at least one of the following applies. You have reached state pension age and have lived with a partner who is below state pension age. Check your state pension age. You can only get universal credit if at least one of the following applies. You have reached state pension age and you live with a partner who is below state pension age, and you can check your state pension age on gov.uk, the government website. And if you are under 21 or you turn 21 during your course, not in a higher education, and your parents have died or you can't live with them for one reason or another, or you're waiting to return to a course after taking time off because of illness or caring responsibility, or you're getting attendant allowance, a disability living allowance, or personal independence payment. Under all these circumstances, and the DWP decided you have a limited capability for work before you started your course, or if you're looking after a child under 16 or under 20, if they are also in full-time education or training, if you are a foster parent or have a child living with you, if none of these applies to you, you can still get universal credit if you get other benefits and you have had a migration notice telling you to move to universal credit. You can usually get universal credit until your course ends. These are some of the situation, the rules actually, and the requirement for the benefit to get it or not to get it. If you're a student, if you're eligible under the managed migration scheme, and so you are only eligible if you are only eligible for universal credit because you have had a migration notice. Transitional protection will end during your course if you leave your course, if you switch from a joint claim to a single claim, or from a single to a joint claim, if you or your partner's earnings were above the administrative earnings threshold in your first assessment period, then fall below the same, and for 3 consecutive months. These are some of the rules. The administrative earnings threshold is 677 for a single claimant and 1,083 for a couple. If you are self-employed, and then you are treated as having earnings above the threshold if you are subject to the minimum income floor, including if you are in a startup period, and therefore you can check the minimum flow. If the minimum flow applies to you, you can do this online, or you can actually do it with the help of other professionals, or whatever source you trust, whatever source you can contact. We're about to stop this video. We will be stopping in a minute. And you can always either restart transitional protection, and after it ends, and restarting transitional protection after you end. Transitional protection can't usually restart even if your circumstances go back to what they were. For example, if you leave your course and then goes back to your course, you can't get transitional protection again. These are some of the rules. We have been repeating some of these points. Transitional protection might start if your claim are ended because your income was too high. If your income falls low enough to qualify for universal credit within 3 months, then you can get transitional protection again. And if you live with your partner, you can get universal credit during full-time education if you live with your partner, and if your partner also aren't in a full-time education. If your parent are also if your partner is also a full-time education, but you are entitled to universal credit while studying. Also, in situation where someone is in a full-time education and one of the couples is responsible for a child or is a foster parent, and you can check conditions under full-time education or training. And if you count as in full-time education or training, if either you are in full-time higher education, this includes anything above A level. Also, if you're doing any full-time course where you get a loan or maintenance grant, or you also count as in full-time education or training up to the 1st September after your 19th birthday, if you are spending at least 12 hours a week doing work for either school or college. There are certain types of training, as long as the training is in part of your job. If you are age 16 or 25 and you're doing a traineeship that lasts less than 6 months, this doesn't count as full-time education or training. Work-related requirement. I will be stopping this program here, and we'll see you in the next program. Subscribe to this channel, and let me know your comment. This is a repetition of some of the points, because in the opening, including in the other videos, I've actually explained the overall outlook of universal credit and the logic for this exercise. Also, I have also explained. And in that, because income is fundamental, we may not understand this if we wake up every morning and there's money in our bank account because we work or because we do business, because we have inherited wealth, maybe from our parents or from our somebody give you wealth, or an uncle or a friend giving you wealth. You may not realize that income is necessary, and so benefit is very important as part of a study on the cost of living crisis, but also livelihood generally. And we'll see you in the next video, and thank you so much for your support, and certainly see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.